Okay, welcome everybody to the start of the PFC Worldwide Leadership Forum. And if you have been invited here, it's because you have been called as one of the PFC leaders in our movement to prepare for change. My name is Jed Cruz, and today I'll be your host, along with Dane R. from California and Brett as well. So thank you for joining in and dialing in. I'm going to hand over the microphone just to Dane for a few opening remarks and to get this meeting kickstarted. So Dane, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Jed.
Well,
I would like to congratulate everybody for responding to this call out. We, as a group, are really very close to doing what we've been organizing for several years to do. If you've been following recent events, the mass arrests are actually being prepared. There's more than 2,000 indictments in the United States, and this is happening in other parts of the world also. Zimbabwe has been in the news, strangely. But they are in the process of arresting the cabal members in Zimbabwe, which, might be a little surprising that there are a lot of people there that they would be concerned about. But in every country, there are people who've been playing games and getting away with it for many, many years. And this is coming to an end. So it's very important for us to do these meetings until the event, and for all we know, the event could happen in a week or two or next week, and we'll have to go to a different aspect of preparing. But right now, we're the same place we've been for years, preparing for the event. So I included in the meeting newsletter I sent out at half an hour before the meeting started, some links to the community leaders brief, some other pages on PFC, and some other articles on the communityleadersbrief.org website. It's all good information. I'd suggest going to both of those websites and looking around. There's a lot of information. One of the things that's happened has been an acute awareness recently about how unprepared most people are. There is a real lack of understanding of the situation worldwide, about the situation with our planet, and having traveled into a higher frequency area. All of these things are what are bringing to the event. And it's going to be a surprise. And I want to congratulate you on coming here, because we're going to discuss how to overcome this lack of awareness as we go out into the communities at the time of the event. So it's going to be a very interesting time as it comes forward. Thanks. Back to you.
thank you, Dane, for doing the opening remarks to our second PFC Leadership Forum Conference. And the work that you're doing here is very well recognized in the community that we have formed together in coming to the calling of this, to the calling of the light. And as we here are on the ground crew, as we are forming our efforts, it's like you said, Dane, it's going to be very important to put into our minds what we're supposed to be doing. And this is really the main purpose, like you said, of our leadership meeting. So I'm gonna, for those of you who have just joined again, I'll make the statement. Thank you and welcome for joining. We have about 50 or so members. And just, if you could, please bear with us as we're getting things into gear during this meeting. And we ask that you keep an eye on the chat room if you'd like to raise a question, but please do mark your attendance by placing your name, where you're from, and your email address into the group chat. And Brett over there, who's our group chat admin. I'll let him introduce himself real quickly. Is taking notes and making sure that he's keeping an eye on some call outs and questions and ongoing discussion while me, your host, will be presenting. So Brett, you want to say a quick couple words before we move on?
Yes, sir. Will do. Hello, everybody. I'm Brett, one of the volunteer staff here. It's a pleasure meeting all of you today. Thanks for being here. There's a reason why you're here. It's not for there's a coincidence. You know, it's something that's always been brought to the light, if I could say. But we welcome all of you newcomers, all who have actually been here before. Welcome. We are all here to bring change, and you know, it's the event is coming soon. If you don't know what the event is, I do know that it can be kind of difficult to understand right now. But we will be posting. I'll be posting a video on it very shortly. But yeah, I'm one of the volunteer staff here. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to help you in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. So myself, Dane, and Brett are here to help facilitate our Leadership Forum meeting, and we'll get started. I hope all of you can see my screen share here. And we're going to start our meeting just with some quick reminders. So if you could turn your attention over to my screen, please. If you can, this is just basic meeting reminders. What we want to do is just remind everybody some housekeeping items. If you're not speaking, please keep your microphone on mute. It's going to be very helpful. The last meeting we had, we want to avoid the noise and background confusion or the sounds of chewing your food, and everybody's going to be like, you know, it's going to feel like someone's chewing on your ears, right? Okay, if you can, also please use the chat. I had it up here on my screen a little while ago, but use it to raise questions and to mark your attendance, comments, share information and resources. We want to keep this meeting as dynamic as possible, and the chat function of this meeting is one tool to help do that as well. Also, if you can also please refrain from drawing on the screen while I'm talking, that'd be also great too, because then I have to, you know, open things. Okay, so be nice and kind to others. Only use loving or uplifting language. Yes, but if in doing so, you're please do provide your feedback, and let's make this again a dynamic discussion as you are guided. So I'm gonna start with that in mind. Please keep your microphones on. I'm gonna share one of the weekly Ascension meditations. And I hope all of us around the world, for wherever we are, can give this a moment of silence for about the next 5 minutes and 30 seconds as we are guided to step into light together. And this is the reason why we came together. So I'll just go ahead and play this video. Dane would appreciate if any newcomers are on, or anybody, if you can make sure that you monitor that everybody's on mute, that would be great. I hope you can all hear this. Thank you, everybody, for joining in our group meditation. So I hope that was refreshing, and as we usher in through our consciousness and being guided by the light. Thank you for those of you who have just joined. My name is Jed Cruz, and I will be your host for today for our PFC meeting. We also have together with me Dane and Brett co-hosting and helping administrate the chat function. So if you can, please, for those of you who have just joined, please put your name, where you're from, and your email address into the chat box so we can take attendance and send you handouts after this meeting, just like I did here. So hopefully you can all see my screen, and hopefully you can hear me all fine out there. I want to start by just introducing myself and just letting you guys know just some of the bullet points here. I'm from California. I'm in Manila. I've joined PFC since it first started back several years back, and I've been following the Cobra etheric liberation for quite some time. I think since the inception now. I've joined a couple other groups. I'm an Asgardian citizen. I'm part of 144,000. Just not from a digital perspective. Just wanted to share what my interests are. And I wanted to highlight here, before I continue any further about me, that this is not about any one person. PFC is not about just one particular voice. You are all here asked to help volunteer and your efforts and coming together here, this effort is recognized. So there's really what we're doing is removing individualism in this group effort. We want to make the PFC Leadership Forum about PFC. So I come from a technology. With that in mind, I come from a technology consulting background. I've worked with Oracle and HP, these cabal-run entities. Yeah, I know. But I love technology and I love healing, and I think that's part of my areas of interest. And there are other areas of interest for those of you who are new to the PFC group. You can look us up on Google, prepareforchange.net, and take a look at some of the areas that interest you, and take action and be a part of that. I'm going to open up the floor for a couple of members. If you're a first timer here and new, please let's introduce yourselves. Tell us where you're from. Unmute your line. We'll start with somebody, and whoever would like to introduce himself, I'll help facilitate that. Where do you live? Do you have any digital affiliations? What have you been following? What are your interests in the Prepare for Change community? But let's keep your introduction for under 2 minutes, and we'll take a few before we get started. So I'll open the floor as in the spirit of making this discussion dynamic. Please go ahead and unmute your line if you'd like to speak up and introduce yourself. Anybody?
Shy people today.
Hi, I'm happy to introduce myself. Can anyone hear me?
Hi.
Yes.
Who's speaking?
Dr. Tatiana Urban. I can't tell if I'm being heard on this end.
We hear
I
you.
can hear you just fine.
We can hear you
Perfect.
just fine.
Hi.
Hi.
A pleasure to be joining all of you. This is really a dynamic group that is going to make a tremendous difference, I have no doubt. I am located in Raleigh, North Carolina, and have an active practice as an intuitive guidance coach, and also as an author and speaker, and recently because I have been also drawn to have a larger dynamic impact on waking others up and bringing them into a place of hopefulness outside the mainstream narrative, which is, of course, is just keeping everyone in the cesspool of dismal circulation, believing that we don't have answers, we don't have technology, we don't have regenerative systems. I bring guests onto an internet television platform, one of many. So humble about that, but excited to realize that after launching very, very shortly in June, that we immediately had an audience of over 5,000 and growing, and so many that wanted to collaborate. And so I think the beauty of this collaboration that's being created here and Prepare for Change is going to grab the attention and eventually the collaboration of all of us that are kind of spinning in our microcosms to create a huge macrocosmic impact. So again, I'm Dr. Tatiana Urban. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Jed and Brett and Dane and all you others. Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. And everybody.
Absolutely.
My name is Clive. Can you hear me?
Hi, Clive.
Yeah.
We can hear you, and I'm sharing your video. So if you're looking at my screen, everybody, you can see Clive there. Wave over to Clive if you can, or if you don't want to share a video, you don't have to as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a problem to connect here because the ID was incorrect, but I see another ID came in, so I was able to connect, you know. But interesting. Now, Dane, I have a copy of the event paper. I think this was from Rob Potter. Rob Potter published that first manuscript on the event. You know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I on the event, the most recent newsletter, it is listed as a link.
Yeah.
There, and it's basically the leadership section on our Prepare for Change website. There is a downloadable PDF at the top of the first page. If you want to download that.
Where is that? Is it an update of the original?
No, it's basically the same one. We cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Right.
I
it's
think
extremely long. So
the Galactic Codex, I think, is very important for everybody to run through that Galactic Codex. I put it on my Facebook page. But by the way, my name is Clive. I'm from England, Bristol, England, and I'm a musician, recording artist, producer, writer, poet, and a holistic healer. I'm a master Reiki, and I do sound healing and aromatherapy, color therapy, and now crystal therapy, crystal stone therapy, and yoga nidra. It's a new format that I've put together for healing sessions from Reiki. But that's basically what I do. And I've been into the Cobra and the Prepare for Change platform for quite a while now, originally through my friend Rob Potter, who left the project, right, Dane?
yeah, and I think February of 2015, something like that. Yeah, he's been doing his own website and speaking on behalf of this movement ever since then.
Okay, all right. Well, so now you know who I am, and I'm very much into this. And I feel that we're getting close. I don't know if everybody else feels the same thing, but I feel that we're getting close to the event now because I see all these things going down day by day. So I think this is a wonderful moment to really do some homework and to read the document on the event and also the Galactic Codex. I think those are very important for us to know about if we're going to be in a leadership role.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Clive. All right. Let's move to the next person. So for the interest of time, but if you could do us all a favor, for the interest of all the groups, if you could share the link in the group chat so we have that link to the resource, and I'll update my slides as well because I have a slide here on some resources for the members here. So thank you. So again, if you're not speaking, please keep your microphone on mute. And I'd like to ask another member if he or she would like to introduce themselves. If you're new here for the first time to our leadership forum, please go ahead and speak up.
Alexander Epson, do you?
Hello, is anybody hearing me?
Let's do ladies first, Alexander. Okay, what's your name, man? Hi.
Time, please.
Can I go on?
Yes, ladies first.
Okay, hello everybody. It's such a great pleasure. I'm a medical doctor from Hungary.
And your name?
I am so keen on what is happening here because I have the gut feeling, okay? And we all have that, right? For myself, I'm leading some medication. I have a private practice with a lot of alternative medicine technologies, from computer technologies coming up to all the ancient technologies. And also I lead some meditation groups. And what I would like to announce you is not my activity, but the Hungarian Prepare for Change group is going to join in December personally, which means like we are not too much, but about like 50, 70 people meditating together and having time together. So it's such an amazing that a small country like mine is so strongly on.
I think we lost you there.
Camera froze a little bit there.
Yep. So thank you, Adrian from Hungary. Alexander was talking there. So Alexander, would you like to go next?
Yes, my name is Alexander Afksandiu. I'm an inventor. I've invented technology that can assist in full regeneration, cures of diseases, activating God particles, DNA strands, and other things. I believe some of the things we need to discuss is how to get this technology out there. One of the devices I've created, I've sent in an email to some of the sites that are obviously with you guys. It's Chamber. I don't know if any of you got that message. It's a certain healing chamber.
Yeah, I received information from you.
All right.
Thank you.
But there's another big thing I think we all need to discuss. With these times, I don't know if you know about the plasma bomblets, with the new energies, people are going to start getting abilities. a lot of people I know already have abilities, you're not going to know how to control them. We need to figure out how to teach them how to control their new abilities, because average person gets abilities, they're not really going to know what to do with it, let alone the family and friend complications. So then other stuff too, obviously, but that's my basic introduction.
Thank you, Adrian. Excuse me, Alexander. You're welcome. It's really cool. So far, we have a researcher, we have a medical doctor, and we have an inventor. What a wide variety of people. I'll open up the floor to two more. So if anyone would like to unmute their microphone and turn on their video and then introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm new to the call, but I'm not new to Prepare for Change. I am currently on the humanitarian projects team and have been working with the group for about 8 months now, and I'm very excited to be part of this and to be a community leader. I'm in Marin County, California, and that's about it.
Well, welcome, Rebecca. You're close to my hometown over there in San Jose. You're in the North Bay, and wonderful to have you here and taking part of the leadership team as well. So thank you for joining the Worldwide Leadership Forum, Rebecca. Anybody else that would like to introduce themselves? We'll open up the floor to one last one for the interest of time, so we can have plenty of time for discussion.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Welcome.
I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm a grid worker. I work with the grids below the earth and in the plasma grid about 22 miles up. I chat and talk with the galactics every single day and the elementals, and I'm a shaman for the Wild Kingdom. That's what keeps me busy pretty much every single minute of every single day. And I was laughing, and it was Alexander that was saying we're going to have all these new gifts coming in.
Wow.
And I laughed because recently I've been randomly bilocating myself and not sure exactly how to handle it. It just sort of happens, and it's happening more and more. And I actually love some advice on how to handle that.
That's we're going to table that discussion for today. That is very, very, very wonderful to hear that you have that ability, Jennifer, and that your work in the etheric realm and the gifts that you're opening up to. That's amazing. And let's put that as a topic for discussion today. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for introducing yourselves. And those of you who have joined, welcome again. And, I really appreciate the diversity of backgrounds and the walks of life that we all come from, and how we all have come together to culminate our efforts for the event. So I'm gonna continue here, and I'll shut this down. So one of the questions that was raised earlier is, why are we here? Why are we having these meetings? And I wanted to highlight that, and I'm giving just the keynote today, but in the future, we want to have speakers from the PFC Forum leadership group to come here and prepare a presentation. I've only got about 10 slides, so this is not going to take a lot of time, folks. And this is not, again, about me. This is about the Prepare for Change. And I wanted to state in our leadership forum, since this is the second meeting that we're having, to clarify for everybody what it is that we're actually envisioning and what we're doing. And it's great there on the website. If you've been to the PFC website, it states it out clearly, and it has some resources and tools, which I'll get into. But the vision for the PFC leadership group is, the mission is to advise and support the existing leadership of the world's various governments to understand what is happening globally at the time of the event. Now, we're meeting prior to the event to take a proactive approach to help fulfill this vision. And whether we're in technology or whether we're in research, there are so many areas that we're going to have to cover, but we really need to get on the side of the current status quo and to advise and support them, because they're going to need a lot of help, not just people in our locale, but we're going to need to be leaders. And that's why you got this email and you clicked on this link to notify your disaster management responders and first responders and whatnot in your government, in your country, in the city you live in, and tell them what's going on. Not be shy about it. We have some resources and tools on how to do that. So what's the mission? The primary goal for the people to do this in our group is, guess what? It's to be calm about it. And it's really difficult, I would say, from my own personal experience, and Dane can talk about this a little bit too, that you go up to somebody who doesn't know what the event is and you try to talk to them about the event and tell them why it's going to happen. And be calm about it, because their reactions aren't calm at all. They usually have, like a question mark and an exclamation point that's just dawned over their head, and they're really, really, frightened by it. But from my experience in talking to officials and government people about what's going to be going on. But the primary goal in our mission as leaders is for us to be calm and maintain the status quo of the societal infrastructure. And these things that we're going to lose for about 15 days would be access to banking, access to food, access to resources that we need to do, like gasoline, to get to and fro from places. And we're not going to be obviously lifting all of that infrastructure onto our shoulders, but if we can help ease that by helping people remain calm, it will help with the peaceful transition post-event, right? During and post-event. So that's really our primary mission. Dane, would you like to add anything to what the group, in terms of its vision and what I've highlighted, and how we go about doing it in your personal experience?
This has been a big question. It's been really coming to me now because I have recently in the U.S. Discovered that our society has become so polarized by the media that people are overreacting and blaming this event. I think is going to be perceived as a fascist takeover in the U.S. and by the Democrats. That's how they're going to try to spin it. And so it's important that we go out and be calm and talk about how long we've been preparing for this. I mean, Mr. Trump is a recent addition to this effort. He's sort of like a established team that just got a new quarterback. It's not, the team's going to win, but it's not on the quarterback. The quarterback is a central part of it. So we need to be calm. We need to deal with people's concerns. We need to express how much this is actually the result of a lot of people's effort, a lot of white hats, and positive people in the background, people who belong to these agencies that have been doing nasty things, who are good people. And from the inside, they're working to make everything right. And so I think that's an important thing, is people have to see that this is an action by tens of thousands of positive leaders around the world to fix the corruption and criminality that has infested our societies. So yeah, that's about.
I live and eat and breathe that stuff for a living. I sell technology.
And another thing that it's maybe extremely important is to focus on things that probably are more 3D, down to earth, grounded stuff. Not to go exactly to archangels and I mean, I believe in that, but I know I cannot start by that point.
Thank you, Yao. Let's move forward with the meeting. Thank you for your input. So we'll table that, and great. But in the interest of part of this call, I'd like to nominate you for one of the EMEA regional call leaders meeting, so that Dane can work with you to send out
Okay.
the newsletter to the people in the EMEA region so that you can host and facilitate that call. I think you have some amazing inputs, and I hope you don't mind volunteering to take up on that mantle. Would that be okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you.
Thank you. So, I've put a list of resources, if everyone can see my screen here. And, makes a good point, because you need to have these tools on hand. But, in the next meeting, we're going to get to, hopefully, we'll have something prepared then for everybody in this call on how we can actually utilize these tools in a real scenario and create a training kind of guide to help everybody do this. And I think that would be great. Something else that I saw in the chat room was from Sebastopol, was one of the members in the PFC group raised, was that they were able to talk to the mayor and to the local police. I'd like to see, maybe them here on as a keynote as well, to talk about that success case over in California and how it was done, and maybe present some of the feedback that the city government had from Sebastopol into the PFC forum. So we're forming up some great ideas, folks. We're also forming, our resource pools. And I put this slide with some resource tools for everybody. And this is just the basic PFC leadership protocols, some tools and techniques on how to organize and have your talking points. What I also did, sorry for the font change here, but I created a Telegram instant messenger group. So for those of you who have a smartphone or a PC, if you'd like to, you can go to this link here that if you can see my screen, you can go to t.me/PFC worldwide there and join that group, because that's where we'll be able to chat all together and make call outs and whatnot. Me personally, I put in a good read. This is a PDF document, the handbook for the new paradigm. It's from a guy named George Green. It's a channeled message, and it's available to you. It's a really great document that kind of helps guide you from a spiritual aspect on what to do or how to prepare yourself spiritually for the event, basically. For the new paradigm, what happens post-event. So Dane, any feedback so far? How are we doing? Brett, any questions from the group that need to happen, or you guys have any?
I have some things I would like to mention, some very important things, if any of you want to listen.
Hello, Jet. Hello.
Hi, Sweeta.
Hi, namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
I want to ask that in India, I have no PFC group. But I am here. I have nominated myself to support people around me in the event and before somehow before the event. And I want to ask that the page you have, the PFC leader protocols, the PFC leaders tools and techniques. Are you sending these in the emails, or we have to go to the PFC page for this?
No, I mentioned already in the chat group earlier that we'll send the slides out to everybody who's if you put your name and then your email as part of marking your attendance, and we'll collate all of that information in there. Thanks, Sweeta. Let me move over back to Alexander. I think he had a question. Alexander, did you have a question? Sorry, Sweeta. Yeah, go ahead.
Several things you wanted to discuss and made very important keynotes, as well as the first thing I want to cover is what I meant by artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I've collaborated with certain time travelers, and yes, interdimensional travel is possible. There's many ways to accomplish it. I'm pretty sure when we all get to Mention and Purpose, I will talk to you about these inventions. But to crack down on a simple note on this artificial intelligence, it is not as helpful as most people think. It is a very big problem. A very big problem. I think all of us know about future situations, to all of us that are awakened enough, that there's not one future, there is an infinite futures. timelines, infinite number of timelines. In one of them, the time traveler came back, certain ones from the government, certain ones from people that just started going rogue because they couldn't trust the government from how compromised they were internally, meaning in their bodies. We need to destroy as much artificial intelligence as possible. I know how complex the event is. What we need to do instead of artificial intelligence is one of the things we need to make progress during the disclosure event is how important it is to train people and educate people to be smarter and better than artificial intelligence before it controls us. There is a future that several people in secret programs that I've been discussing with that said artificial intelligence got to the point that timeline is being fixed. I'm aware how timelines are repaired, fixed, prevented, in a way that it doesn't cease to exist, soul fragment. But it got to a point to where artificial intelligence was literally, let's just say it made the Terminator movie look like a joke. All right, that would be a picnic compared to what I learned about that. I'm not going to go into detail because that's been prevented. Timelines, there are interdimensional travel guardians that destroy, repair, fix, intervene in these kinds of timelines. They're called timeline corps in the Galactic Federation, long story short. But to prevent from happening again or to try and make another dumb mistake, we need to counter artificial intelligence by putting a stop to it and training and educating people to not only compete with it, but be better, not just in intellectual abilities, but intuition and physically be able to compete. One of the things, an example right now about what artificial intelligence is right now, there are synthetic humans and synthetic life forms that are living right now in every country. You can spot them out. They do have limited lifespans. They do have limited physical abilities. But from how smart they are, they can gather much more information and they can outsmart people.
Alexander?
Yeah.
Quick one. I don't mean to stop you right there, but
It's okay.
let's for the spirit of this discussion and to stay on topic, I'd like to table again. I put it in the notes for Brett to take down as a possible potential subject for discussion on artificial intelligence today. Really, the community call for a PFC leadership forum today would be about the spirit of how we're collaborating preparing for the event. Now, I know that AI is going to be a definite topic on how we handle that pre or post event or during. And I thank you for your inputs. But let's park that one for now because I really want to go in depth with this one. I think it's important to hear what you have to say. So let's take some time with Dane and I to make that a centerpiece and maybe perhaps a PFC keynote conversation. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Cool.
And also, I wanted to say, real quick,
go ahead.
They were asking, some were asking about translations, if we can translate to other languages. Some were asking about the next meeting. When will it take place? Let's see. Pretty much, we covered the intelligence, artificial intelligence. The event was already covered as well. It's in the chat. But yeah, I'll try to keep more up to date on this. And if anybody has any questions, I'll leave my email. And my email should already be in the chat already, but I'll post it again for anybody who has any questions. I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge. And me, Dane, and Jed are all here. I'm Brett, by the way, one of the volunteer staff here. And we're just trying to, situate everything as of now. And thank you all for being here.
So thank you, Brett. Dane, before I move on to the next topic in our agenda, do you have anything that you want to summarize that we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes?
Yeah, the AI topic is a huge topic for us going forward. There's so many people out there who kind of think that transhumanism is cool and you see a lot of that kind of cool attitude, a lot of art and stuff like that. It's really going to be a huge issue as we go forward after the event. And we're going to be having it. PFC, we're starting a new website called galacticsociety.org, which will, after the event, we want to kind of focus on becoming self-aware on Earth of the galactic environment and neighborhood we live in. So that'll be one venue, and that will focus a lot on the AI issue, because AI is a huge issue for the entire galactic civilization group. It is a threat, and it has taken down civilizations in the past. And so this is something we do need to discuss. We probably need to get back to our primary goal here, which is to get our heads around what should we be doing when the event happens, and talking to people. I think that some of the ideas here are very good. The role playing, 15-minute, elevator, not an elevator pitch, but almost a sales pitch. These are important things for us to develop, and thanks everyone for contributing. We're really at the threshold of needing these things. We've been doing this for a long time. It's been pretty easy to get into a mode of thinking it's all going to happen in the future, but I think the future is upon us. So I think that's an important thing for us. Okay, thanks. Back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Dane. So yes, definitely the future is upon us, and we're all here to be part of ushering that in. To summarize, again, in the last 20 minutes, for those of you who may have just joined, we're looking for regional leaders for EMEA, North America, South America, China, as well as APAC. We want these regional leaders to be the point of contact to host and co-host meetings, just in the same format as we're doing now for the Worldwide Leadership Forum, so that you can actively gather information the way that we're doing, share your resources and knowledge. Please work with Dane and myself on that. We're happy to share on how we do these Zoom meetings and provide this resource, so that we can collaborate all together from a global perspective with actual inputs from those countries in those specific regions. So please, again, nominate yourself. These slides will be sent after the call. We put in some tools for you, and we'll incorporate some of the links that you're sharing. And we've already taken down some notes on what next topics would be highlighted for the next PFC Leadership Forum. So without much ado, I would like to move to our next topic. So if you can see my screen here, Dana suggested that our discussion would be the event watch. So for the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to open the floor to people who would like to just speak up and talk about the event watch updates. But let's keep in mind a couple of things. As I've helped host and facilitate, please keep your microphone on mute unless you wish to speak, so that others can hear. If you'd like to speak first, please note your name in the chat room now, and whoever would like to speak next, so that way I can keep an eye on that and see who's in there. And if you have any questions for that resource speaker about what they're talking about, feel free to ask at any time in the chat room, so that way we can take a note down of your question and call it back out to whoever was speaking on that topic. So let's again keep it relevant to the topic. We're doing an event watch update discussion, and this is a group discussion. What is the event watch? We're looking at some certain pieces of information of whether it's intel that you might have or anything that you might be very familiar with regards to what is bringing us closer to the event. I can't stress that enough. What is bringing us closer to the event? And as part of the PSC Leadership Forum, this is going to be important for those who already know and those who don't know, and compare some notes. and we want to kind of get a gauge. So please make the topic relevant for discussion. And again, just some housekeeping items. Please be nice and kind to others. Let's only use loving language and uplifting words. And do, again, provide your feedback and discuss as you are guided. But let's also do it in a format that gives everybody a chance to. So for the next 45 minutes, let me just take a look at the chat here. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. If you guys want.
I'm sorry, who's that speaking?
Alexander.
Hey, Alexander. So let's give you about 5 minutes of the floor. Thank you for volunteering. Anyone who'd like to go next, feel free to call out in the chat. But this is the last topic of our discussion for the PFC Worldwide meeting, and this is a guided, creative discussion. We haven't prepared anything. We want to hear from you. So go ahead, Alexander. Thank you.
All right. So basically, what we need to do in terms of, once again, when the event happens, how we need to talk to people. The main things, key points we need to be talking to people is, 1, why there's nothing to worry about. 2, what's going on. 3, how to calm them down. Letting them know some of the most basic things: allies, enemies, truth, deception, comfort, those kinds of things. Basic things that, people are going to be asking while the disclosure is going to be happening, what's going on. I think the easiest way to tell people, especially when they come banging on everybody's door, is yes, intergalactic civilization does exist, obviously. Break down some basic things. They're not invaders, they're liberators. We're not being destroyed, we're being liberated. There's been intergalactic war going on for thousands of years on this planet alone that you guys didn't know about. Ascension, basic stuff like that. Just the big key points we're going to have to break down to people. Like, those things in the sky are friendlies. They're not enemies. To say it in a funny way so they can understand, you have to kind of use fact with humor, because when people are sleeping masses, you have to understand one of the easiest ways to get through to people is humor mixed with evidence and fact. So an example, the random gangbanger that's walking down the street is more of a threat than the ones in the sky, because they're benevolence. They're not malevolence. They're closer to you than you realize. So you're going to have to break it down like that. And then when they look and they see that they're not using these superior ships to blast everybody to pieces, they'll understand that. So you say, look in the sky for an hour and see if they're doing anything that you see in the movies. The obvious answer is going to be no, they're not trying to do that. So then, after a day or two, they'll start realizing that they're still hovering and not doing anything, and they'll be more relaxed. So you're going to have to kind of mix it with humor mixed with fact. So,
what would you say, Alexander, what's the pulse that you're keeping an eye on, and that your area of interest as an eventer would be, that kind of gauges where we're at and how we're getting closer to the event? Are you reading anything from a technology standpoint?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of inventions. Like, it's not like the only invention I know how to do is the chamber I sent you, or the unlimited energy. No, I mean, I've broadened my technology and inventions on a wide scale. What I think we need to do on the basic things on inventions: 1, start making it very well known public what real medicine is. Sound, vibrations, light, plasma, those kinds of things. Frequencies, real healing, hybrid frequency healing, like the chamber I told you, the real reason what crystals and diamonds really are, what's actually inside of them, that they're not just jewelry, that crystals and diamonds have mass amounts of intergalactic information inside of them. Light, sound isn't just for healing. It's not just for listening. There is mass amounts of information in light and sound. Crystals and diamonds, we're going to have to seriously look in on just how important those are. I've done my research on that. Also, we're going to have to make it very important on unlimited clean energy. Again, crystal, diamond, metallic power, pure metals, gold, silver, these kinds of alternative things. Unlimited clean energy. We're also going to have to, again, like the artificial intelligence, how to counter that. One of the ways, ARC technology. It doesn't matter how powerful or how significant something is. One of the things extraterrestrials use on their planets to counter those kinds of attacks is they use arc field technology or arc field generator technology. You activate that, and barely anything can get through it. It's like Nikola Tesla said, it's like a force field, a really good one. Again, learning to think better than artificial intelligence, think better than algorithms. Healing, clean, unlimited energy, breaking down some things like how they don't need to worry about communication. Communication, yes, is going to be taken down, but it's irrelevant. There's going to be new technology. DNA is going to be activated. People are going to be going through healing ships, chambers. It's not like I'm the only one who knows how to make healing chambers. If I do it, imagine what the Galactics can do. So, people are soon they need to know a very basic thing about communication, which is going to worry a lot of people from how addicted they are to technology. Soon, everyone's going to have advanced telepathic abilities. A lot of people already have them activated to a certain extent. The amount of enhanced telepathic communication people are going to have is going to make cell phones ridiculous. They're going to be outdated. You're not going to need to call someone in a different country. You're going to be able to talk to them with your DNA activation. So people need to learn these basic things so they're not freaking out. How am I going to talk to my mom or dad or grandma again? Very soon. They need to know about the teleportation technology that's going to be implemented. They need to know that, yes, cars, buses are going to be discontinued because they pollute the planet. They suck the planet of plasma. Many people don't realize that the reason why cars and things like that are implemented is to destroy plasma. Plasma is necessary. That's why plasma bomblets are being activated to restore plasma. There's going to be better forms of transportation, teleportation, devices. Soon people will be trusted to have enough DNA activation to teleport with their metaphysical abilities. Teleportation, time travel without machinery. So you're not going to not see someone again. You're going to see them whenever you want. Mm-hmm. So basic things to cover to people that they're going to be mainly worried about. Medicine, energy, transportation, communication. Those are going to be, food, stuff like that. So
would you like to add to the community leaders brief of your version, Alexander? Maybe I could suggest, as part of creating a helpful resource tool for our PFC leaders, is your perspective and take on the new paradigm and the new technologies that we're going to have, and what you think that we need to be aware of post event. So thank you, Alexander, for your inputs. I think from a like you're saying, from a technology perspective, there are a lot of things that are being released in mainstream media. One of the things that Cobra mentioned recently was kind of the healing technologies where you can activate different cells in your body to form nerve tissues, and that would help people with Alzheimer's. So we're going to see a lot of healing, as well as a lot of breakthrough diseases that have plagued humanity in the past with no cure, or will automatically find cures. And I think they've held a lot of this technology back, and they've held us back from a global perspective from evolving to be able to do that, because they want to keep us dependent on those things. Dane and I had a wonderful 4-hour conversation yesterday about that. And that was one of the things that we touched on briefly. But thank you, Alexander, for your insights there.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So I'm going to open the floor to Alan next. Alan, could you tell us, Alan, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So Alan, could you tell us, from a discussion event watch perspective, what are you seeing? What are you keeping a pulse on that's helping you gauge where we're at in terms of getting closer to the event? And should we be moving faster, or are we organizing enough to do enough? What are your thoughts?
Okay, we're still in a rough patch. As we're going to be in a rough patch until the event takes place, and then for maybe a few years after that. However, I really listened a lot to Cobra, and I am very happy to report that Cobra has discussed the dissolution of the Yaldabaoth. It used to, according to him, take up the entire solar system, but now it's been deactivated except for the head. The head of this ugly beast extends from the surface of Earth 8.5 miles up, and from the surface of Earth 8.5 miles down. And there are these plasma toplet bombs that are still in the process of being deactivated. My understanding is that all the Strangellet bombs and all the nuclear bombs, there are none of them left on Earth or in the immediate environs of Earth. We are still in some danger. We're not out of it. So in that regard, I would like to just say a brief prayer that everyone can use for protection, because we need to protect ourselves during this dangerous time. And it goes as follows. Source Creator, partner with me in my life each and every day to keep me safe, to guide, heal, protect, support me against all who oppose bringing forward the truth of the divine. I will post this if you want me to post this, but we need to act to protect ourselves during this time. And there's other prayers that teamarchangel.com is a wonderful website to go to learn about spirit rescues and channeling with the people who've passed. I am extremely excited about the future. I am more excited every day because I see signs every day. I have feelings every day that we are getting closer. And in the recent weeks, these have intensified. It's like yesterday was 11, 17, 17. And I recently had to have some tooth work done in my mouth, and the bill is going to come to 1717 on 11, 17, 17. Little signs like this, that I'm seeing. This may sound inconsequential to people, but I am very excited about the future. I was an intelligence officer in the military during the Vietnam War, and I know a lot of things that the average person does not know. And I'm happy to share all my knowledge, but obviously there's not enough time now. But I know a lot of things that people would find very, very intriguing. Anyhow, so there you go.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Alan. Please post that prayer in the chat room. One of the things that I did was I wrote my own. I'm not part of this contract kind of thing, and I kept it in my wallet. And actually, I signed it in blood. I kept it in my wallet, and I do that because protection is definitely quintessential if you're doing this kind of work. I actually didn't want to be the host because I don't want to become a targeted individual. I really don't. I know what it's like, and many of us know what it's like to have your life screwed up by these energy weapons. Because you're doing this kind of work. And I've had my life screwed up so many times. And luckily, I know how to manifest, but protecting yourself is going to be super key in this. And it's good that you're keeping an eye there. Before I let you go, there was a question from one of the group members for you,